Stop planning your trips based on Instagram photos and travel brochures. Let's get real for a second. How many times have you come back from a vacation feeling like you missed out on the real experience? You spent hours researching, reading reviews, and following the must-see lists, only to end up in tourist traps that drained your wallet and left you feeling disconnected. It's time to throw away that cookie-cutter travel advice and embrace a completely different way of seeing the world. In this video, I'm going to share the Pragmatic Guide to Travel, where practicality meets unforgettable experiences. We're diving deep into a strategy that focuses on real value, getting the most out of your time, your money, and your energy without getting lost in the noise. It's time to travel smarter, not harder. Trust me, this isn't just another generic travel guide. Stick around because I'm going to show you how to make every trip truly meaningful. And yes, it's going to challenge some of the norms you've been following. Keep watching to unlock the travel secrets that actually work. Number 1. The no plans, no stress method. You know that feeling when you've spent weeks planning every detail of your trip, from flight times to restaurant reservations, only to have something unexpected throw it all off course. Yeah, we've all been there. And let me guess, you've also experienced the stress of trying to control every single moment, only to find that the more you plan, the more overwhelmed you feel. What if I told you there's another way? A way where not having a plan actually works in your favor. Yes, trust me on this. The no plans, no stress method is your new best friend when it comes to travel. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "That sounds like chaos," hear me out. Think about it for a second. We've all been conditioned to believe that the best trips happen with meticulously curated itineraries. The truth? Sometimes the best adventures come from giving yourself the freedom to just go. No maps, no schedules, just you and the open road, or maybe the open city streets, or even the quiet corners of an unfamiliar neighborhood. You see, by not sticking to a rigid plan, you're opening the door to possibilities that go far beyond what any guidebook could suggest. So, why does this work? It's simple. When we let go of control, we make room for the magic of the unexpected. Ever walk down a street just to stumble upon a local festival, an impromptu street performance, or a hidden cafe with the best coffee you've ever had? That's the kind of stuff that doesn't show up on an itinerary. And here's the kicker. It's not just about embracing the unknown. It's about trusting that this randomness will lead to some of your most memorable experiences. I'll tell you about a trip I took once. I was in a new city, no plans in place, nothing. At first it felt weird, like, should I be doing something? Should I have booked a tour by now? But then I saw a park in the distance and decided to walk toward it. Along the way, I passed a small bookstore with an open door. The bookseller greeted me, and we ended up chatting for an hour about local history and culture. I walked out with a new book and a sense of connection I never would have had if I had just rushed through the city trying to tick things off a list. That day, I realized that by not planning, I allowed myself to experience a city, not just visit it. This method isn't about being reckless. It's about reclaiming your travel experience from the endless need to control every minute. It's about finding peace in being present and letting your journey unfold naturally. This is about choosing to take your time, soaking in every moment, and not feeling guilty for missing out on touristy hotspots. Trust me, your mind and body will thank you for the relaxation that comes with simply being rather than doing. And when you return home, you'll realize that the most fulfilling trips are the ones where you didn't let your need for control steal your joy. The no plans, no stress method isn't about giving up. It's about gaining freedom, your space, your peace, and your dignity, because when you let go of stress, you get to enjoy the journey as it was always meant to be, effortless and full of discovery. Number 2, the budget buster. Travel on a shoestring. You know what they say. Traveling is expensive, and you have to sacrifice a lot to see the world. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a load of nonsense. What if I told you that you could travel, no, really travel, without breaking the bank? Yes, trust me on this. You don't need thousands of dollars to have an unforgettable adventure. It's time to throw away that idea that luxury is a requirement and embrace the budget buster approach, traveling on a shoestring budget. You might be thinking, wait, does that mean I have to stay in hostels with questionable showers? Or maybe, what's the catch? Do I need to hitchhike across the country? But stay with me. I promise it's simpler and more rewarding than you think. Let's be real. We've all been there, scrolling through travel sites, dreaming about faraway places. But then reality hits. Flights are too expensive. Hotels are out of your price range. And before you know it, you've given up on your trip before even booking the first ticket. You've probably convinced yourself that traveling is only for the rich or for those who have unlimited vacation time. Sound familiar? But here's the twist. What if you stopped chasing the traditional idea of a vacation and embraced the mindset that experiences don't have a price tag? The strategy is simple. Get creative. Instead of booking expensive flights, start looking for budget airlines or even train routes. Skip the luxury hotels and stay with locals, or use services like couchsurfing where you can stay for free. That's right, free. If you're thinking it sounds too good to be true, hear me out. The more you immerse yourself in local culture and go off the beaten path, the more authentic your trip will become. I know, it might sound like I'm telling you to sleep under a bridge with a backpack, but trust me, this method is empowering. It's about trading comfort for true adventure and discovering how much you can experience without that hefty price tag. Let me tell you about my own experience. A while back, I decided to visit a European city I'd always dreamed about, but my budget was tight. No fancy hotels or overpriced meals for me. Instead, I found a small apartment on Airbnb located just outside the tourist zones. It was basic, no frills, but the view from the window was a stunning sight of local life, far from the crowds. I used local transportation, ate street food from markets, and made friends with people who lived there, learning about the culture in a way I never would have if I'd stuck to the usual tourist track. I didn't need five-star accommodations to have an incredible experience. In fact, the lack of luxury made the trip feel more authentic, more raw. I wasn't just a visitor, I was part of the rhythm of the city. Here's the thing. When you travel on a shoestring, you're not just saving money, you're gaining so much more. You're reclaiming your peace by not stressing over a massive credit card bill after your trip. You're freeing yourself from the notion that your worth as a traveler is defined by the money you spend. Instead, you're opening yourself up to new possibilities, new adventures, and a deeper connection to the places you visit. You're learning to embrace simplicity and valuing experiences over things. It's about discovering how little you actually need to have a meaningful journey. So next time you're tempted to scrap your travel plans because the budget isn't big enough, remember, your dream trip is within reach, no matter how much or little you have. The budget buster approach is about stepping away from the crowds, trading luxury for authenticity, and trusting that the best experiences often come when we stop expecting perfection. Your space, your peace, and your dignity. Because when you travel on a shoestring, you're truly in control, and the world is yours to explore. Number 3, minimalist luggage revolution. Here's the thing, we've all been there, packed to the brim with clothes we'll never wear, just-in-case items that never get used, and that one extra pair of shoes that somehow makes its way into the suitcase, even though you know you'll be wearing flip-flops the whole time. But what if I told you that the key to a stress-free, empowering travel experience wasn't packing more? It was packing less. Yes, trust me on this, the minimalist luggage revolution is real, and it's about to change the way you travel forever. Now you might be thinking, wait, are you saying I should travel with just a toothbrush and a change of clothes? What about my toiletries, my laptop, my 7 chargers? I get it. You're skeptical, and that's totally normal. The idea of stripping down your travel essentials feels almost rebellious, doesn't it? But stay with me. What if I told you that by carrying less, you actually gain more? More freedom, more flexibility, and yes, even more enjoyment. Imagine breezing through the airport without a mountain of bags weighing you down, or catching a train without that nagging worry that you've forgotten something essential. Sounds pretty great, right? We've all been there. You know the type. The traveler who spends more time worrying about whether their suitcase will fit into the overhead compartment than actually enjoying the journey. It's almost like the act of packing becomes more about stuff than the experience itself. And here's the twist. Carrying less isn't about sacrificing comfort. It's about embracing simplicity. You can survive on just 5 key items: clothes, a small toiletry bag, 1 gadget, and maybe a book or a journal. That's it. The rest? Extra weight you don't need. The freedom that comes from this approach is liberating. Let me give you a real example. Last year, I took a trip to a city I'd always wanted to visit, and this time I challenged myself to only pack a carry-on. At first, I was nervous. What if I didn't have everything I needed? But after just a day or two, I realized something incredible. I wasn't worried about my oversized luggage at the airport or figuring out where to store it in my tiny hotel room. I had everything I needed in that small bag, and the best part, I wasn't bogged down by the pressure of overstuffing my suitcase with unnecessary things. I was lighter, more relaxed, and I could move freely, explore more, and live in the moment instead of in the endless process of unpacking and repacking. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. When you decide to pack light, you're saying goodbye to the clutter, not just in your suitcase, but in your life. You're making room for experiences, not excess baggage. And mentally? Oh, it's a game changer. Instead of obsessing over whether you've packed everything, you're focused on enjoying the here and now. You're no longer a slave to your belongings. So, next time you prepare for a trip, think about what truly matters. Pack only what you need and leave behind the weight that's holding you back. The minimalist luggage revolution isn't just a travel hack, it's a lifestyle shift. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting for you on the other side of that lighter suitcase. Embrace the freedom of less and let your travels unfold with ease and grace. Number 4, the purposeful lost tourist. Here's a thought. What if I told you that getting lost while traveling might just be the best thing that could happen to you? Yes, trust me on this. There's something magical about straying off the beaten path, even when it feels like you have no idea where you're going. Now, I know what you're thinking. But I've got an itinerary. I have places to be. I can't just wander around aimlessly. And hey, I get it. There's a certain comfort in planning every moment. But what if getting lost, purposefully, is the secret to truly experiencing a place? We've all been there, right? You've mapped out the entire day, ticking off all the must-see spots, rushing from one attraction to the next. It's efficient, sure, but by the time you check off the last box, you're more exhausted than enriched. You know the type, the traveler who's always checking their watch, glancing at the map, making sure they're staying on schedule. But here's the thing, the real magic of travel often happens when you let go of that control and just wander. No map, no set plan, just you and the city, ready to reveal its secrets to you. The strategy is simple. Become the purposeful lost tourist. This doesn't mean you throw all caution to the wind, but it's about giving yourself permission to step off the path, even if just for an hour. It's about trading the to-do list for a more open-ended approach to exploration. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity. Just wander, look around, talk to locals, follow the alleyways. Your brain craves novelty, and the world has plenty to offer if you're willing to stop trying so hard to plan every moment. And hey, I know this might sound a bit counterproductive, especially when we're so used to maximizing every minute of our trips, but bear with me. There's something deeply freeing about unplanned exploration. Let me paint a picture for you. A few years ago, I was in a city I had never been to, with just a vague idea of what I wanted to see. After ticking off a couple of obvious tourist spots, I decided to take a random turn down a street I hadn't researched. Suddenly, I found myself in a bustling market square, surrounded by colorful stalls selling everything from fresh fruit to handmade jewelry. I stopped at a tiny cafe that I'd never have found in a guidebook and ended up having the best espresso I'd ever tasted. The locals chatted with me about life in the city, shared recommendations for hidden gems, and before I knew it, I had stumbled across a little-known museum that blew my mind. None of this was in my itinerary, but it was the highlight of my trip. That sense of being truly there in the moment made everything feel real and alive. Here's what this idea really brings you. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. When you stop stressing about having every minute planned and start embracing the unknown, you open yourself up to a deeper, more authentic connection with the place you're visiting. You stop trying to force experiences and start allowing them to happen. And that, my friend, is where the magic lies. Instead of rushing through your travels, constantly watching the clock, you start embracing the idea that the journey is just as important as the destination. So, the next time you're planning a trip, give yourself permission to get a little lost. Let go of the fear of missing out on something important. Sometimes the best moments happen when you least expect them. You'll find that the purposeful lost tourist is far richer in experience than the one who's ticking boxes all day long. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting for you in the unplanned, in the detour. All you have to do is get lost. Number 5, the local-only experience. What if I told you that the secret to the best travel experience isn't found in the tourist guides or on the top-rated lists? What if the real magic lies in stepping off the well-worn path and diving into a truly local experience? Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but I came all this way to see the famous landmarks. Yes, I get it. The Eiffel Tower, the Great Wall, they're iconic for a reason. But here's a little twist. Sometimes, the real essence of a place is found in the corners you least expect, in the streets where the locals go. Yes, trust me on this, the best stories are made not in the big attractions, but in the hidden gems that most people overlook. We've all been there, haven't we? Standing in line at yet another tourist trap, feeling like a small fish in a big pond, ticking off the must-sees, just because that's what the guidebook told us. You know the type, going through the motions, snapping a photo, then rushing off to the next place. But what if I told you there's an entirely different way to experience a city? A way where you forget about the guidebooks and follow the pulse of the place. A way to get closer to its heart, to its people, to its vibe. The strategy I'm talking about is simple, the local-only experience. It's about putting away the top 10 lists and instead embracing the spontaneity of local culture. You don't need to follow the masses to see the real side of a city. Start by simply asking a local where they would go if they had an afternoon off. What's their favorite cafe? Their hidden park? It's that easy. Sure, it sounds simple enough, but here's why it works. When you ask a local, you're getting the real deal. It's like getting the inside scoop that most tourists never get, and I promise it's going to change how you travel. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I found myself in a city I didn't know much about. I was itching to do the usual, take a guided tour, check out the popular attractions, and get my usual "I've been here" selfies. But instead, I decided to ditch the plan. I asked a barista at a small coffee shop where she liked to spend her Sundays. Without hesitation, she pointed me towards a tiny neighborhood just outside the city center. I decided to follow her suggestion, and what I found was beyond any tourist brochure's wildest promise. There was a local farmer's market with the freshest produce I'd ever tasted, a little art gallery showcasing local artists, and a small street full of quirky boutiques. I ended up spending the whole day there, meeting people, learning about the local culture, and feeling truly connected to the place. It was nothing like the whirlwind tourist stops I'd been on before. It was authentic, and it was real. Here's the beauty of the local-only experience. It's not just about the physical spots you visit. It's about how it makes you feel. It's about shedding the touristy mindset and getting closer to the soul of the place. You stop worrying about whether you've seen all the must-sees and start focusing on the real value of being in the moment. This is about reclaiming your space and your peace, about stepping into a world where you aren't just a spectator, but a part of the local fabric. And trust me, it feels empowering. The next time you travel, ditch the standard itinerary and give the local-only experience a try. Ask a local, explore the hidden spots, and let go of the pressure to be everywhere at once. It's in these moments that you find the magic of a place, and ultimately, you'll leave with something far more valuable than a souvenir. You'll leave with a story that's yours, one that no guidebook could ever give you. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting to be found in the local corners, not the crowded streets. Go ahead, step off the beaten path, and watch your travel experience transform. Number 6. The digital detox traveler. What if I told you that the best way to truly experience a new place is to completely disconnect from the digital world? I know, you're probably thinking, but how will I find the best restaurants, or get directions, or snap a few good photos? Yes, trust me on this. There's something incredibly powerful about unplugging and diving into a place without the constant hum of notifications and the pressure to post everything on social media. The real magic happens when you're free from your screen and present in the moment. We've all been there, haven't we? Traveling to a new destination, but instead of being fully immersed in the experience, we're caught up in scrolling through travel blogs, checking our social feeds, or Googling every little question. You know the type. The one who spends more time looking at their phone than at the view in front of them. It's like we've forgotten how to simply enjoy the now. But what if you could escape that loop? What if you could just be present? The idea I'm introducing is simple. Become a digital detox traveler. Instead of being glued to your phone or constantly checking online reviews, embrace the concept of being fully present in the moment. I'm not saying you have to completely cut off the digital world forever, just a short, intentional break to help you reconnect with the place, the people, and most importantly, yourself. The psychology behind this is fascinating. We've been conditioned to seek instant gratification through digital stimuli, but when we give ourselves permission to unplug, we rediscover the deeper joys of travel. We experience things more authentically, we engage with locals more meaningfully, and we collect memories, not just likes. Let me give you an example from my own travels. I remember being in a small coastal town a couple of years ago. I had this nagging feeling that I should check reviews or consult Google Maps to make sure I wasn't missing out on something better. But instead of reaching for my phone, I decided to just wander. I started chatting with a local vendor selling fresh fruit, and we ended up having a conversation that led me to a secluded beach I never would have found if I'd been glued to my screen. The feeling of finding that hidden gem, all because I decided to trust the moment instead of the map, was indescribable. I watched the sunset in complete peace, free from the pull of digital distractions. Here's where the real magic happens. When you step away from the constant connectivity, you reclaim your peace and your space. No more feeling rushed to check in or respond to messages. No more FOMO from seeing what everyone else is doing. It's just you, the place, and the experience. You give yourself the opportunity to slow down and absorb the world in a way that can't be replicated by a screen. This isn't just about taking a break from technology. It's about taking a break from the pressure to constantly be on. It's about regaining your mental clarity and finding joy in the simple things, like a warm breeze or a quiet street corner you might have missed if you were too busy scrolling. The next time you travel, try it out. Turn off your phone, leave the Wi-Fi behind, and allow yourself the freedom to truly disconnect. You'll be amazed at how much more connected you become to the place and the people around you. This is your chance to reclaim your time, your energy, and your sense of wonder. The digital detox traveler doesn't need to check in every 5 minutes or take the perfect picture. You'll be too busy soaking in the beauty of the world around you, without the filter. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are just waiting to be rediscovered. So go ahead, unplug, and watch your travel experience transform. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. I truly hope you found the insights and strategies I shared helpful, and that they inspire you to approach travel in a smarter, more meaningful way. If you found value in this, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel and lets me know I'm on the right track. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. If you know someone who's always planning their next trip or maybe struggling with the travel hustle, share this video with them. It could make a huge difference.